Hi there, it's me, Nancy. This week is a little bit of a rough subject. So let's dive in. This week we're going to talk about acceptance, what it is and what it is not. So, in order to accept something, it does not necessarily mean that you agree with it. It doesn't necessarily mean that you feel good about it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's not affecting you in a negative way. So there's a little bit of a misconception out there about what acceptance is, that acceptance is means that you have to agree with the situation or happily move along with it and, happily engage in whatever that outcome is. And it really doesn't mean any of those things. But what it also does not mean is, adding in this idea of, well, okay, right? Like it's not that ultra negativity that continues to bring about the but if it were different. So what acceptance is it is moving past the wishing that it were different in order to get to the place of knowing that it's not and making your decisions based on what the actuality of the situation is. What is the actual situation in front of you? So here is the hard part. The hard part is figuring out for you, what in fact do you need to do to get past the, what if only it were different? If only it was a different situation. I wish this was different. Why can't they be different? All of that questioning, right? And so I want you to hear me here, that what I'm suggesting is not to not have those emotional responses or the shock or whatever that those things are that come with some shocking news that is difficult to accept. But what we do have to do is find what your way is to move past it. So maybe that means something like, writing that email but not sending it. Maybe it does mean like really purging your feelings like into a pillow or, something like that. Like it's okay to have these big disappointed, anger, frustration. All of those emotions are totally acceptable and needed in this human experience of ours. And even though it sucks to feel them, it is okay to feel them. What I'm suggesting is not to avoid them or run away from them. But what I am suggesting is, how can you express those emotions in a way that are not going to harm your future, in a way that is not going to permanently harm a relationship or a situation, or have you making decisions that are not healthy for you in the long run. So whatever that means for you, if it means screaming into a pillow, scream into that pillow. If it means writing that poison penned email, but just not sending it, or sending it to a best friend to read or something, like, go ahead, or send it to yourself, right? Go ahead and do that. Do whatever it is that you need to do. Write it out on paper and burn it. Do whatever ritual or whatever it is that gets those emotions out of your body, so that then you can get to the point of, okay, this is what I do not have control over. Let's stop focusing on it because it's wasted time and energy. This is what I do have control over. Let's shift my focus over to here and come up with some action steps in this side, this do have control over list, so that I can then start to embody the acceptance. I could start taking actions in the name of acceptance after I've purged all those negative emotions. Sometimes we skip that step of feeling the feelings. It's okay to have those feelings. We just need to make sure that the actions that we take in those emotions don't make permanent damage. That's all. There is no such thing as a negative emotion. Feel the anger, feel the frustration, feel the disappointment, feel the sadness, feel the loss, and process it in a way that isn't going to make permanent damage or damage for you into the future. So it's time to figure out what those things are for you so that you can feel them in a healthy way, in a needed and healthy way, so that you can then get to the true acceptance without resentment, but true acceptance, and start to embody and make decisions and take actions based on what is actually in front of you, what you actually have control over, and releasing all the wishes and why couldn't it be's and why won't people just do what I think because I'm brilliant, and if they would just listen to me, the world would be a better place. How can we get past that stuff and get to the actuality of the situation? This can be a really, really tricky one, especially when the things that we need to accept are huge. If they are huge losses, huge decisions that were made on our behalf, huge permanent decisions made by someone else that is affecting us, it can be really, really hard to accept, but I want to make sure that we're really hearing here that it's okay to feel the emotions. In fact, allow yourself to. Just make sure that the actions you're taking in those big emotions aren't permanent and aren't affecting others in a way that can bring you negative repercussions down the line. Let me know what you think, and let me know what you'd like me to talk about next, and I will see you next week. Bye.